So thank you very much, everybody. It is a pleasure to be speaking to all of you and to be an presenter here at this conference. We are a relatively new office. There have been a lot of counterterrorism missions within DHS over the years under a lot of different names, and this one is no different. When I first came on about a year or so ago, we were called the Office of Targeted Violence and Terrorism Prevention. With the administration change, we changed our name to the Center for Prevention Programs and Partnerships. We believe that more accurately details what we kind of do, and I am very excited to go through what it is that we do. And here we go. All right. So this is a little bit of an outline of what we will do. We will talk about some of the definitions that we have for, along with our mission, our public health model, which I will go into, and our local prevention frameworks that we are looking to augment or help us establish in some cases. And then towards the end here, you see lines of effort and programming. Those are sort of fancy words for just detailing the services that CP3 can provide. This is our vision and our mission. I would focus in on the mission. You see whole of society. That is sort of our bread and butter. We believe at DHS and at CP3 that we all have a role to play in the prevention of extremist violence. We realize that the state and locals might already have a framework in place to prevent these sort of attacks that works for you, and we are simply looking to provide the services to help augment that framework. We are not here to sort of reinvent the wheel or divert any kind of communications away from what has already been established within the state of Vermont or within your local jurisdiction. So what is our definition of prevention? So we have taken a public health model approach to that. And what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean that we're shifting responsibility to the public health sector for this type of work and taking it away from law enforcement, but rather recognizing the need for more public health interventions with individuals who are exhibiting the behaviors that might move them to radicalized violence. One example that I would say is from a prevention standpoint, active shooter training is a wonderful, whether it's in your place of work or your school, is a wonderful prevention training. However, we are trying to go a little bit farther to the left with our version of prevention. We would like to intervene in those individuals before they have gone the route of feeling that they need to shoot up their place of work or a school. Targeted violence, you'll see here, regardless of motives. This is important because so often some of this work gets politicized. We are not here to fight against any one ideology. We are really fighting against behaviors. I could show you manifestos from a Muslim extremist and a white supremacist that almost mirror one another with their ideological mission, that it is all the Jews' fault, that their race is trying to be exterminated, that society needs to move closer to God. These individuals just took two separate paths, but the core behaviors and motivations that they exhibit are very similar. So that's an important piece that at CP3 we like to make note of, that we are not here to target one type of ideology, but we are here to try and combat certain behaviors. This is our definition of terrorism. You will see the categories down below. These are the categories that DHS and FBI use to categorize motivations. Obviously, A person can have multiple grievances and motivations. We often see people who carry out attacks have sort of threaded together different grievances and motivations into a narrative that works for them. This is why we believe that pushing information to the public about risk factors, different behaviors is so important. This is a visualization of our public health model. For some people who might be within the public health sector, this mirrors a lot of the suicide prevention models that are so often in the public health space. With each level, obviously, there is a greater risk to violence and occurring and an escalation in intervention tactics. CP3 likes to operate in that blue and green area. We are able to operate in every area, but the blue and green is really where we feel we have the most leverage and the most ability to off-ramp these individuals before they go and do an attack. Local prevention frameworks. So we feel that these are the ingredients to a successful framework. We understand that not all of these might be present or be able to be at 100% capacity. But we put this slide up here to just reiterate our commitment to you, our local and state partners, that you have at your fingertips a lot of federal resources within the region and agencies and services that can assist in helping boost, augment the frameworks that are already in place. And we'll go through some of those services that we can provide in a little bit later. The role of bystanders. This is a huge thing, and this is one of the reasons why we do what we do. Most prevention work, at least from the law enforcement arena, you will see there is an information gathering mentality. They want to know who the individual is. They want to know who they've been talking to. They want to know what websites they're going on, et cetera, et cetera. We look at prevention from another way. We look at it as a push of information to the public, and bystanders are a huge part of that. We have seen over recent years many attacks, and after those attacks, there is always somebody that comes out, whether it's a family member, a coworker, a family friend, that there was a telegraphing of this person's intent. But they didn't know who to call, or they hadn't done anything illegal yet, so there was no way to really truly intervene, or they were scared to get the police involved. And we feel at CP3 this is a lane where we can help. We are not a law enforcement entity, but we have, which I will go through a little bit later, a number of different services that we can provide to sort of help off-ramp individuals that bystanders are being concerned about. This is our structure. I kind of straddle, as the regional prevention coordinator here in New England, a little bit of all of these. The one that I have the least amount, but probably everybody has the most interest in, is that grants and innovation. We do have a separate pool of money set aside. It's for grants. I do not control how that money is dispersed. Last FY, we had about $20 million that went out across the country. It is application based. So this is different from the FEMA DHS money that goes out to the states. This is a separate pool. You have to apply for it, and it has to be related to prevention, violence work. I can serve as a conduit to our grants program. I also am in charge of letting people know when the notification of funding opportunities arises. I will tell you, for those who are interested, it is going to be sometime in October, and I am sure that you will hear either from me directly, or you will hear from some sort of, announcement list that we send out, that it is when that NOFO becomes public. Strategic engagement team. So this is where we go into sort of our first service. So we are conduits to a multitude of different organizations and experts in their field in off-ramping individuals. And we encourage anyone who is looking at having a case where maybe law enforcement has gone as far as they can go, or having somebody who needs some mediation or intervention, to contact us, and we can set you up with an off-ramping sort of specialist. And these are sort of the sectors that we touch in. So we try to be as bespoke or tailored as possible. We understand that there are individuals that can be connected on religious grounds. Veterans, talking to other veterans often helps. People who specialize in high school students or younger, former radicals who have left that or who have been off-ramped, to talk to individuals. And we use arts and entertainment or sports or different community organizations to try and reach those individuals as best we can. It does no good for us to just send somebody who does, off-ramping of schools to, somebody who might have just returned from Afghanistan and is having a lot of trouble trying to integrate back into society. So when you call CP3, we try to get a little bit of information on that individual, just so that we can tailor the recommended person, counselor, organization as best we can. One of the other things that we'd like to stress is that this is a soft touch sort of connection. Who we recommend to you, they do not report back to us, and there is nothing that we will contact you to get a report of who this individual was, what were they saying, etc. This is simply a connect, and we make the connection for you, and then you take it from there. And whoever we put you in contact with, it is understood that they will wrap into the framework that already exists. This is the second service that we provide. This is our digital forums. These happen a couple months or so, and they cover a multitude of different topics. We have experts in their field that everything is online. Obviously, it's a digital forum, but everything from sovereign citizens to incels, to recruitment techniques, message board awarenesses. They are great forums where a lot of great information is dispensed. And I highly encourage, and I do send out notifications to my contact list within the region when these are being presented. So the field ops team, that's me. So these are some of the things that I'm responsible for and what I do. One of the other topics, the services that I provide, is sort of education and information sharing. You'll see later in the slide deck, the community awareness briefing, but I'll mention it now. The community awareness briefing is sort of a latest and greatest briefing. We have input from FBI, Secret Service, our own DHS information and analysis, who gather up a lot of information and help us create a brief that is an awareness brief for the public. This goes in depth into identifying risk factors, different behaviors. We have case studies that are often regional or state specific. And it just puts out a lot of information so that people are knowledgeable that if you come across somebody who's who only wears flowery shirts or Hawaiian shirts, it might just be that they like Hawaiian shirts, or it could mean that they identify as a Boogaloo boy. Um, and maybe you have seen somebody online who posts a lot of pictures online and does a certain hand symbol, seems rather innocuous, but might have be signaling something of white supremacy or something like that. So that's all in the brief. And it's really just a knowledge and education and information sharing package. All of it is unclassified. So nobody that we present it to needs any kind of clearances or anything else. This is all stuff that if you had the time to research it online, you could, but we just package it in a nice 90-minute brief, and we present it to anybody that you would like us to do it with. So we can tailor that brief to the audience. As I said, we have different case studies that are state and regional specific, but we can also tailor the brief to a more public health audience or to a school audience or just a general audience, whoever it is. We will do a preview with you and we can go over the brief and see what works and what doesn't. This is our current makeup. There's actually a little bit more people than this. Some take regions, some take states. I cover all 6 states within the New England area, but this just gives you an idea of where we're currently located and where my counterparts are. And this again is our third service on top of grants, on top of the digital forums, on top of the recommendations. We do a lot of these different briefings. And we are in the process of doing a train the presenter. So the idea that I can attend, 6 states and do a cab in each state is a little bit of a stretch for me. So we are beginning a train the presenter program where we will probably have different people that can do a cab by themselves within each and individual states. This is just some information on our grants team. We have 2 grants that are within the New England area. It is Operation 250 out of Lowell, and the Boston Children's Hospital also has a grant. They focus more on schools, but they do have a network of different counselors and contacts that might be able to help you with a more tailored approach. If you had a certain individual, we could have that discussion. We don't push any of our grantees. So just because they're a grantee doesn't mean that they are the only people that we will recommend. We have a number of relationships with a lot of organizations who aren't receiving grant money from us that we will recommend as well. The FY21, the $20 million has been awarded to a number of different organizations, but they have not been made public yet. So I can't mention who they are. And as I said, the notification of funding opportunities we have been told for the next FY will come out in about October. These are sort of the priorities that when you do apply for our grants, that we sort of focus in on. Again, it is application based. I can set you up with somebody in our grants team that can help you walk through the process or help you with your application. But again, I do not control who gets the money or how much the money allocated is. I simply serve as a conduit for knowledge that the NOFO is open. These are the current grantee locations. As I mentioned, there's 2 in Massachusetts, but there's a number, as you can see, across the country. These are 2-year grants for anyone who's interested, just for your knowledge. Our policy and research team. This is more of a sort of DC-centric slide that we put in here, but we put it in here just to let you know that they do take a lot of information from us out in the field about what is happening on the ground level, where the gaps are, and where they can assist. So we pretty much have a conduit almost straight to the DHS Secretary's office, and they monitor us routinely. They ask us a lot of questions about what we're seeing in our region, what the states are telling us, what our local counterparts are telling us is concerning them, and so they are well aware of that. And just to let you know that they do change their policy and research goals based upon that. So going forward, and the reason why I'm so honored to be a part of this convention is I'm really asking you to help me out. We look at this as the state has 2 hands firmly on this wheel. I come from a FEMA background. I worked at FEMA for quite a while at headquarters, so I'm very sensitive to the state sort of driving the initiatives. This brief is really just to showcase our menu. You may take whatever you like out of that menu, as much or as little as you want. We simply are here to showcase the services that we have. If you want to take a little bite of one or the other, that's great. If you would like me to talk to somebody that you know might benefit from our services, please, by all means, get in touch with me, and we can make that happen. We are happy to do that. I'm happy to do another brief like this. I'm happy to do a cab preview. I'm happy to do whatever you would need me to do. That is my role here. But I will use you as the gatekeepers. I do not want to ruin any relationships that you already have with these individuals in these organizations. So I simply ask that you utilize me as needed, and I will let you sort of lead me in whatever direction you want. And here are some of the contact information. Here's my contact, as well as our website, where you can get a lot more information about what we do, some education requests and general requests. You can use those different emails that are there.